All right, what's up, you guys? So this quarter, we've been learning about these three separate but related things. So DNA replication, transcription, and translation. And these are all kind of similar in the way that we all talk about, in all three of these, we talk about directionality. We talk about nucleic acids in these three things, right? Nucleotides. However, these are three separate things. So I put this question on here to make sure that we're keeping these three things in separate compartments in our brain. So let's just make sure we're on the same page about what is what, right? So starting with A, when we're going from DNA and making more DNA, we're just copying that DNA, right? So I think this one's the most obvious one. This is DNA replication, going from DNA to DNA. We do DNA replication, right, when we need to make a second copy of our DNA because the cell is dividing. So this only happens every now and then when our cell is dividing. Then we have going from DNA to RNA, and this is transcription. Right, transcription is happening all the time in most cells, right? It's happening in cells all the time. All the time. And then we take that RNA and we turn it into protein somehow. So we're going to talk about that later in the later videos. But when we go from RNA to protein, that process is translation. And I think translation is a great name for it because we're going from RNA, which is a type of nucleic acid, right? RNA and DNA are both nucleic acids. And we're converting that into a protein, which is made of amino acids. So you're literally translating from the language of nucleic acids to a different language, the language of amino acids. So that's why I think translation is such a great name. And this is also happening all the time. So first transcription happens and then translation happens. These two are kind of paired together. So this is happening all the time. Right, so the main point here is DNA replication. This is kind of like a special, like a little bit more exclusive event, but these two things are happening in active cells all the time. Okay, cool. So we've answered the question. I just want to add some things that will kind of help keep these processes in different compartments in our brains. I'm gonna use a different color for these. Okay, so a lot of these processes involve enzymes, and I want to talk specifically about which enzymes are in these guys. So DNA replication, we are making DNA. We're making a really long DNA polymer. So one enzyme involved in this process is DNA polymerase. We have DNA polymerase 1 and 3, right? So just breaking it down, it's making a DNA polymer. So no surprise, a DNA polymer is in there. And then anytime something ends in ase, that means it's an enzyme. So in this class, there's a lot of terms to know, but the terms actually tell you a lot about what they do, right? So the fact that it ends in ase tells us it's an enzyme. The fact that it's DNA polymer means it's an enzyme that's making a DNA polymer. We also have an RNA-based enzyme in DNA replication. Right? We have RNA, right? We're making RNA primers, so it's RNA primase, right? So RNA is making RNA primers, ACE, it's an enzyme, right? This is going to be a little bit different than the RNA enzyme we use for transcription, right? What's the RNA enzyme we use for transcription? We're making a really long RNA polymer. This would be RNA polymerase, right? So it's making an RNA polymer and it's an enzyme, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind, right? The names will tell you a lot about what these enzymes do, right? So we have one RNA enzyme, RNA primase, for DNA replication because we need RNA primers for DNA replication. Then we have a separate RNA enzyme, different one, for transcription where we're making an entire RNA polymer, right? Not just a tiny primer, we're making the whole polymer, right? Okay, cool. Well, I hope that this video kind of helped solidify this stuff and let me know if you have any questions.